All right. Think we're live. I'm gonna wait until some more people fill the chat, and then I'll get going. Let's see. I'm gonna put up a temp image real quick here. I'm not gonna wait too much longer. It'd be nice to get 10. I don't get a lot of viewers in my streams, but be nice to have 10. What does WSG mean? I guess I could just look that up. What's good? Oh. Not my acronym skills, apparently. But everything else is good, thanks. All right, I'm gonna turn off the image. Here I am. And we'll turn that off. Turn this off for now, too. Okay, so cool, I'll start. I had this idea, spur of the moment, because every couple weeks or so, I like to check out to see what the latest analog horror is. Because I have a secret love for analog horror, and I know that as a stuntman and filmmaker, action filmmaker, I know I'm supposed to love the action genre first and foremost, but I don't. um, I just I just don't because it's kind of like difficult to find an action film where they're really innovating and they're really pushing new ideas, and it's really hard to find that in the indie world. Back in my day, people were innovating all the time with action, but it's just I don't know. I just haven't really seen much lately. Maybe I'm out of tune, out of touch. Maybe I just need to watch more, but haven't seen much. But in horror, you see all kinds of innovation because when you have these people in their basements who are just like, I got a cool horror movie idea. They can just go out and shoot it, uh, or they can go out and make it with analog style filmmaking. Uh, I I think that you get just the coolest ideas out of that. And just for some context, I thought that one of the coolest genres was the found footage genre. And everyone would fight me on this, but I still think to this day it's like one of the greatest. Like Blair Witch is still one of the greatest films I think ever made. Just how genius was that movie? And you can critique it all day, right? Like in hindsight, it's like, oh, it's obvious she's wearing makeup, and we could we could think nowadays, it's like, oh, it's obvious that they're making a fiction. Just nobody knew it at the time. And I had a friend that went and saw Blair Witch, and he did not know that that was a fake movie, and it freaked him out, which was the point. So uh, when you had films, and there was a great film called Dog Bites Man, I think it's called Man Bites Dog. I'll dig it up, but it's sort of like one of the first found footage movies. It's a French mockumentary. I guess mockumentaries are kind of like found footage movies, but it's such a raw, awesome movie. And there's nudity in it, so just be careful. And there's some gnarly stuff in it, but when you watch it, you swear it's just real. You swear it's just a documentary film crew following this murderer around, and nobody's stopping him. It's unbelievable. And so to be able to pull that off, because you're constantly in on the joke, and you have to do everything in your power to not give away that you're in on the joke, right? Because like if you put credits at the end, it's like you credit the dead body and stuff. It's very obvious that the dead body was not actually dead, and you have to make it like feel very authentic. And I think that that's like to me that's high art because I'm kind of a punk kid. I really love that stuff. Um, and so what I want to get into now, so with found footage, it seems like the spoof genre just sort of fizzled out eventually, and I have a feeling that there's something kind of nefarious going on with cinema nowadays where not that it's like intentional, but in general people they don't like having the medium questioned, I think, as much as they used to. Like the spoof was like such an inside joke. Like for example, if you watched Police Squad and you either got it and it was hilarious, or you might have been one of those people who didn't get it, and it you just you watch it and you think like, oh, it's just kind of like this kind of a dragnet style show, and it's sort of there's some weird stuff, but okay, I get it. And like the joke is on them, right? The joke is on the person who doesn't get it. And Mel Brooks, all these great filmmakers sort of perfected the genre where like it looks every bit like that could be an absolutely real movie. Like Spaceballs looks like a real movie. Um, and if you know the jokes, like if you showed Spaceballs to an alien or to a robot, they might think like, oh yeah, that's just like a Star Wars sequel. Looks totally normal. It might get some jokes, but overall, like a great spoof is it's made greater by looking exactly like the source, like what it's supposed to be spoofing. So found footage succeeds if it looks exactly like you actually found some footage. And so and at some point people got really kind of like fed up with it. I think like Cloverfield, which I loved, but everyone hated Cloverfield. I couldn't figure out why, but it felt so authentic. Like it really felt like a home video camera capturing a monster taking over a city, destroying a city. Um, And then I think like too many people got sick or something, and I guess found footage started fizzling out. Wreck was another one. It was a fantastic film. VHS might have been like one of the latest kind of stabs at found footage. Anyway, there's a new genre of horror called analog horror, and I think it just sort of is picking up where found footage left off, except it's made by like small teams, if sometimes maybe just one person making just like really cool videos that look like something that you just found some hard media and you booted up the old VHS player and stuck it in, and you're just like and then you release that online. That's kind of the gag. And there have just been some really interesting found footage gags out there, like pharmaceutical ads that like shouldn't exist. uh, Weird demo, PlayStation 1 or N64 titles that like shouldn't exist. And then like public service announcements, weird tapes that people have found. And in general, found footage or analog horror, like it tends to fail because the people making the project like want to show like they just want to push too hard. Like they want to make sure you get it. And the good analog horror like doesn't push too hard. It just sort of gives you something like this is exactly how it was found and just leaves it. And like you're like the real ballsy ones are the ones that have no credits, right? Those are the ones you're like, who made this? You can't even take credit for it. That's art. So I thought I would watch some analog horror with you all. We have 5 people, which is enough. We'll get it started. I think when people start seeing that, we've had a chat going for a little bit, maybe we'll get some more people. Um, but I actually wanted to start off with like a shameless plug. My shameless plug is I made an analog horror movie one time, but it wasn't really a horror. It was an analog, maybe it was an analog comedy, you could say. Let me move my camera. All right, so I'm gonna turn on my. Let's see, we'll turn on YouTube. All right, so my analog horror comedy, it wasn't really a horror. It's called Ki Master Okuma, and Ki Master Okuma. I threw it up, and well, we'll just watch it together. It's only 2 minutes long. So again, shameless plug. This is my movie, but
everybody's kung fu fighting. Today we get to visit the school where the master does a little different type of karate. Ouch! That looks like it hurts.
check out Sean's reaction here. Watch Sean. Look at that crank. So the gag, of course, was that at the time there were all these Ki masters. Supposedly they throwing people around by not touching them. So
how might they explain to our TV viewers scientifically? Scientifically,
that's me without a beard.
木を使って敵の木をかわってそして敵の木をそこから弱くにしてそして自分の木を強くにしてそれは
He's got a really long explanation.
He says he doesn't know. Now let's see how it might work. Now what you're seeing here is not part of a Jackie Chan movie. This is the real thing. This is what they call karate. And it's practiced in many dojos all over the world.
There's a little hint there that we're a filmmaker team behind it, but And there was like the another hint, and like I just couldn't help myself but like give ourselves credit, which I had. If I had had real stones, I would have not put any credits in. So if I were to do that again today, I would totally do it differently. Um, Hey Bill, doing good. Yeah, it was a fake karate sensei because the best part of this video was that I put this on the channel, and I put that how old is that? This is an old video. It was where is it? This is old. 15 years. So this video is a 15-year-old upload. And back 15 years ago, the Stunt People channel had like 500 subscribers. We were very small. Um, and When I put this video up, it went viral because people thought it was real. And the comments, actually, let me show you the comments because the comments are like really what sell this thing. Like, uh, let's see. Looks like it looks like maybe the angry comments. There were some really angry comments about how stupid this was and how like people were so sick of these ki masters, screwing people over for money and whatnot. And I would just debate them, and I would say like, no, it's totally real. Pete said so, and so I would like argue with these people, and then the thumbs up to down ratio was like 80% down on this one. Like we had like at the time, and since then, like the thumbs up ratio on my videos tends to be between like 97 and 99%. For fiction, it tends to be like 99%. This was about 30% up, thumbs up, and it went viral. So and that really worked out for us because you look at the Stunt People channel at the time. I was like, oh, here's some guys that make short films, and like, oh, there's a ki Master Okuma thing. So nobody thought nobody was the wiser. So okay, so now I want to jump into. I'll just read a few questions. Merry Christmas, K and K. Well, Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah. Uh, FIA 390. Non-human action would be better innovation. Not quite sure what that means. If you could elaborate. Fluent Japanese. No, I could like fake it. I could fake it. Okay, and they just kind of mumble like, like it's just nonsense, and I just put imas at the end and assume that that would suffice, that would work. I took a year of Japanese, and I cannot for the life of me understand any Japanese. I took a year of Mandarin, and I could understand way more. Um, Bill says some of your old action shorts pop up in my feed from time to time. I love the exchanges between you and your partners. Thank you. Yeah, it would be difficult to put an analog horror on my YouTube channel now. I've wanted to. I really want to do it. So I'll have to make a separate channel because I really want to do an analog horror, one that has action and violence in it, and maybe I risk that video getting banned. I don't know. All right. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next video. So the next video on the list is, what do we have next? Okay, the Backrooms. Now we're not gonna watch the whole thing because Backrooms is kind of it's a little bit slow going, but it is sort of like one of the quintessential V8 analog horror films. This might get demonetized, but we'll see.
Sound, camera,
rolling.
All right, and action.
I haven't watched this all the way through, but it looks like
All right,
to make it like a student
guys.
film, right?
All right, that was good. I'm thinking we get a wide angle, and then we're done. Okay?
All right. Yeah. Cool. Like how much further? Like
A little more. A little more.
you got?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
Pretty cool. Good acting at the beginning with the kids. So this channel
Hello?
is huge now. This video's got like 68 million views.
Hello? Hey guys. What is this? Hello?
Oh,
Is
it's
someone
cool.
there?
So what I want to make sure I don't do, I want to make sure I don't get another copyright strike. Last time I did this, I got a copyright strike, um, and that was bad. So I'm not going to show the entire thing, but I highly recommend the Backrooms because, and the whole channel also, because it's just very high quality. The rendering quality is really good. I think that they're done in Unreal Engine now, and I'm gonna go to the end and just kind of spoil it because I actually haven't seen. Let's see. I think it gets kind of crazy at one point. Let's see. Let me scan through here a little bit. It also feels authentic because it's like it kind of feels like they're using a 24p camera that has like crummy 24p um, analog transfer because like that's what happened. No, excuse me. There's like an issue with like marking the frames, and so you have this kind of jumpiness in the 24p. Whoa.
What the fuck? This isn't real. This isn't real. This isn't real.
So again, trying not to get copyright struck here. Just gonna go forward near the end. Oh jeez, dude! Oh, I got it. Whoa. That sucks. Okay, yeah. So that's the Backrooms. Very high quality. Yeah, he does like Backrooms lighting and tile survey. Like it's literally like a discussion about how they made that backroom, like it's analog horror where the the quote unquote architects of the Backrooms, they discuss how they made the lighting for it, which is all like part of the world that he made. Really cool stuff. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, so the next one, okay, the next one we definitely can't watch in its entirety. It's called Petscop, and I'm only going to show a little bit of this because, again, because of the copyright strike, but also because I think it's like a 10-hour series. But the story behind this is that there's this gamer who gets this. In fact, I think it has it in the description. Let's see what the description says. The game I found. I walked downstairs when I got to the bottom. Oh no. Yeah. So that's all it says is the game I found. That's the description of this film. And so it's the story is that the author who's like narrating it found this demo disc for a game called Petscop, and he plays it. And the game was never released. There's some beta, and this is what he saw.
Alright, so this is just to prove to you that I'm not lying about this game that I found. I'm just gonna walk you through everything that I've seen so far, and obviously it'll be exactly as I described it because this is it. And the first level is over here. I'm just gonna keep going a bit here so you can see that the game is apparently unfinished because there's nothing over here. So I'm just gonna show you the one and only level. This actually is not the interesting part, but I'm just gonna show you. I'm gonna walk you through all this so you can see that this is exactly what I described.
All right, I got two things. So the first thing is that the Paul, the guy doing the voiceover, the acting is so good because when he's playing, he like it'd be very easy to like pretend to be scared and pretend to be freaked out, and it's this doesn't sound good usually. But the way that he plays it and the way that he plays it, it's like it's very convincing. And so the entire time as he's playing it, you really get the feeling that he's freaked out by what's happening. And the other thing is that, in the beginning it says that he's going off to the side and that the game's not finished. Well, actually, the more he plays the game, the more the game kind of fills in. And so the world kind of gets built as he starts discovering things that are going on in this game. And ultimately, he starts coming upon, spoiler alert, he starts coming upon information about a girl who was murdered in real life. And it's very dark and it's scary as hell. And I'll just fast forward
This is
to
run through because it works. So I go here. I'm just gonna do this now.
the last thing too is that this is very clearly a PlayStation game. Unless he was like rendering it in, unless he was designing it in like in Unity or something, but it looks as though he used like a NetEurosi to program an actual PlayStation 1 game. I've never looked into actually how he did it. I think he opened up after the fact that like he revealed who he was. Took a long time. Um, but everything about this game is exactly like what you would see in a PlayStation 1 game. So highly recommend Petscop. Let's just go to the end so you can see kind of where it gets dark.
Leave here. It'll be a little bit different. All right. So there's nothing out here, as far as I've seen. But actually, I think there is something out here. I just haven't seen it yet. Because it sure seems like, in this note here, it sure seems like, right, I'm supposed to come out here and look at something. I haven't found anything yet, but I'm thinking if I just keep walking around here, I'm going to find something eventually. Hey, so I was talking about how I couldn't find anything out here. Well, I just found this. And, last time I came out here, I was walking around in this space here for over an hour. And this time I find this in less than 15 minutes. So, this is just luck that I happen to find this. And, I think if I were to restart my console right now, I would not be able to find this again. Probably, because I don't remember what I did. You know, all the directions that I went. So, so I'm kind of scared to, I want to keep the console on until I figure this out. The situation is that I cannot open this door. I probably can open the door, but I don't know what to do.
So yeah, in essence, the episodes then released like as he starts the game again and like new areas open up in future episodes. When it was being released, it left everybody in suspense as to what was happening. So way to go, Paul. This is an amazing analog horror. Nobody's done anything quite like this. And like stayed in character too, because nobody knew who Paul was. There's no like, it's made by Paul, the graphic design guy who also, hire me to program your PlayStation game. Like there's nothing like that. He doesn't advertise himself, and that's why this was so freaking popular. 3 million views. All right, we're gonna go on to the next one. Now this one I haven't seen, so we're gonna watch it together. Maybe some of you haven't seen it either. It's called "Have You Seen This Tree?" There we go.
Have you seen this tree? This tree has been extinct for 200 million years. If you have seen this tree, You may have fallen into a rift in the fabric of time.
Okay.
In that case, follow these 3 steps. 1. Don't panic. 2. Don't stare at the tree for too long. 3. Seek help.
Why?
If you don't follow these steps, you will be trapped in the Mesozoic era forever. If you have any doubts about a tree, just follow the steps.
That's cute. Okay. Not much else to say. Okay. As you can see, the next one is my personal favorite, Thalasin. Uh, Again, I'm afraid I'm gonna get a copyright strike for showing this. Um, so, but it should be okay. Maybe let me see if I can just turn off. Let me see if I can just turn off monetization. Let's see if we can just turn this off. I'm just gonna turn off. I'm not gonna make any money off you guys right now. I'm not gonna make 75 cents. It's gonna hurt, but you know what? It's worth it. I just don't want these, YouTube people to get upset. Jeff Curry says, I love liminal space horror stuff. You can pack so much, so little. Yeah, the liminal spaces, like even just the pictures, right? Like the liminal space imagery is so interesting because it's images of places that should have people but don't. Orphan Pixels says it's an interesting aesthetic. Picked up an SD camera and bag. Bought it because the camera had a mic input. Spent another bit to get new battery. I don't know. Eric, best wishes. Happy New Year. Thanks you too, Jackson. FIA says, so far this genre seems to rely on a faith trust in society, the idea of normalcy to be caught up in it. Faith trust in society. I don't know why the genre would depend upon that. It does seem to play off of. Yeah, I'm still not quite sure what you mean. All right, let's watch Thalasin. I'm just gonna play it because it's too good not to. We have to watch the whole thing.
You or a loved one are suffering from any of the following symptoms: lack of feeling, emotional outbursts, fog of the mind, or memory loss. This may be a sign of onset AED or advanced emotional deterioration. Today, 7 in 10 people over the age of 21 report experiencing emotional degradation severe enough to hinder everyday tasks, such as workplace performance, social interaction, and general well-being. Emotional stability is required for a functional and healthy mind. Correcting AED used to require rigorous testing and invasive procedures, costing time, effort, and money. Today, the solution is Thalasin. Using our modern understanding of brain mapping, Thalasin is able to reproduce the emotions necessary for any occasion. Not only does Thalasin restore lost emotion, but patients have reported emotions at a higher and more consistent quality than ones produced non-chemically. Included in every pack of Thalasin are these common emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, and relief. Also, look out for over-the-counter options such as jealousy, hope, frustration, and pride. Tired of only experiencing natural emotions? Or maybe interested in expanding your emotional palette? Cutting-edge brain mapping technology has not only allowed us to refine existing emotions, but has also allowed for the creation of new emotions and emotional experiences. With Thalasin Plus, experience emotions beyond previous natural capabilities. These new emotions include Degrin, Humber, Mage, Dorselessness,
These are just terrible.
Andric, Verin, Pawnish,
Punish.
Harpoon, Time, Trantiveness, Deluge, Brick,
Yeah, really horrible stuff.
To experience the power of Thalasin, call the number on your screen now before supplies run out.
Yeah. So, Gooseworks is the one that made that. Yeah. What can you even say about that? Like that movie hit that analog horror has been aped hundreds of times. Like everybody tries to like ape Thalasin now, and they'll make like new emotions and whatnot. It's just nothing even compares. Like you had like the drawings, the music, the voiceover, the writing. It all is exactly like the something you'd hear and see in like a pharmaceutical ad playing at like 11:30 p.m. on QVC or something. It's so dead on, and it really kind of hits that. It's like that. What would it be like a pharmaco horror, like a pharma horror, where it's like the pharmaceutical companies are like not content with just fixing problems. Like, no, you need to go beyond fixing problems at this point. So it's almost like these emotions are like produced. How do I even describe it? It doesn't matter. Like that's genius. Happy New Year, all one nerd. Let's move on to the next analog horror, which is another Backrooms. Let's see what this one is. Level 480. This one's short. Let's see. I haven't watched this one yet. Oh yeah, I've heard. Yeah, okay. So this looks like it was made by somebody who just like works at a hardware store and had free run of the place at one point to make an analog horror film. And I've never had an automatic zoom camera that sounded like that though. Yeah, this is like that liminal space idea, right? Where it's like there's supposed to be people in here. The music is supposed to be, joyful, and but it's eerie because nobody's in here. Yeah, this is legitimately freaky. I also like how there's no context. The guy started on the floor, picked up his camera, and started going. And now there's Vaporwave music playing. That's cool. Oh, okay. Oh, there's somebody outside. Nah, don't open that. All right. Yeah, okay. Cool. Well done. That was nice. Did you watch Skinamarink? No. Maybe I'll is Skinamarink analog horror? Man, I might have to pull that one up. Uh, okay, here's another one. Is this also Kane Pixels? Yeah, so Kane Pixels made this later. This is called The Oldest View. He has a series of these. And I thought that this one was even cooler just because of how I assume it's rendered, and I'll let you watch it and you can see what I mean. $3D rendered, I mean. Not this part, but you'll see.
What's up, guys? Wyatt here. I hope you're all having a great day. I know I am, because today I've got something really cool to show you that I found. I'm currently on my way to, I shouldn't say the name of the park, I don't want to, just because the spot I'm taking you to is technically in pretty far into private property. Not going to get into that, not going to worry about it, but generally trespassing, not good. don't trespass. I'll probably be fine, but don't trespass unless you found a really cool secret tunnel in the woods that you want to check out and show to your internet buddies. In that case, I think it's fair game.
Right.
So from that, you might be able to deduce what I'm planning on showing you guys today. So stay tuned.
I think Kane Pixels, I think he does his own music. He's got a music channel too. He makes really good music.
All right, it's super windy right now, so I hope you guys can hear me. I've been walking for like an hour, 45 minutes, and I got turned around a little bit back there, but I
Look at
think
that tree.
this is the spot. Hold on, I gotta get a little further. Okay, yes, this is it. So,
This is so crazy.
here is the hole. I'll show that in a moment. Inconspicuous, tiny little hole in the ground. Honestly, just like a little cave or something. I don't know. I mean, that's what I thought it was the first time that I saw this the other day. I mean, it's out literally in the middle of nowhere, under this big oak. But if you actually take a look down inside, there are stairs down there.
It's so crazy. Look at that. So this one, kind of like Petscop, it works so well because the narrator.
So I didn't notice this before. Last time I was here,
it's just really good.
In a rush and it was a lot
I assume
darker
that's.
out.
I assume it's the filmmaker
Looks
himself.
like these stairs used to go up further, if that makes sense. And what I find really weird is that all the lights, these lights are on. So that tells me that there's still something active here. And but then the entrance is so low tech. Is that it's just fucking strange.
So at any rate, he goes down these stairs it's real time. He just goes down these stairs forever. And then I actually don't really want to show much more because he goes into this mall, and the rest of it is in this series that he made called the Oldest View. And this friggin' thing, this clown thing starts chasing him around this old mall, and it's wild. So yeah, man, this guy's top of his game with analog horror. So that's a good one. So see, Skinamarink is a feature in the liminal backrooms ballpark. Huh. I know, I've heard of it. It sounds freaky. Okay, last one is Ilbago, the Scalpere 2000. This is another one that works so well because it just looks exactly like what it claims to be, which is some weird commercial for something that shouldn't exist. It's not a commercial, excuse me. It's a tutorial for how to use the Scalpere 2000. Congratulations on your purchase of your new Scalpere 2000. This video manual will teach you how to quickly assemble and properly use the Scalpere 2000. I can't wait. Okay, let's figure out how to put this thing together. And Scalpere 2000 is composed of 3 main components: the mainframe, the crankshaft, and the compression chamber. Okay, that seems simple enough. Begin assembly by placing the base plate on a flat surface. Okay, connect the back plate to the side using the provided screws. That's pretty easy, right? You can do that. Any kid could do that. Attach the mainframe cage to the base and back plates by lining the pieces up and screwing them together using the provided screws. Okay, yeah, again, really simple stuff. This finishes the mainframe. That's it. That's fantastic. All right, next comes the crankshaft. Screw the handle into gear A and screw gear A into the small connector. Again, this is like really easy. It's like as easy as it can be. And then attach gear A to gear B by sliding the grooves in between each other and make sure that they are secure. Screw gear B into the large connector, slide the large connector through the 2 holes in the side of the mainframe cage and seal it with a nut and washer. I assume those are included. For the compression chamber, simply wind back the spring, insert it into the area above the base plate, and hook the chain around gear B. Now what is that thing? That looks like a cutter of some kind. When correctly assembled, the Scalpere 2000 should look like this. Oh, it's like a little tiny cutter, like for vegetables. Oh, interesting. Section 2, assessment. To determine if the Scalpere 2000 was assembled correctly, perform the following tests. Okay. Rotate the crankshaft clockwise. Make sure that the chain is spinning and turning the gear inside the compression chamber. Okay. Seems like it'll work just fine. Then test the compression chamber by rotating the crankshaft. The blade should quickly move down after a few turns. Okay. So that way it can very quickly cut through something, right? If the blade is functioning incorrectly, be sure that the mainframe is properly screwed onto the base and the back plates, as loose fastening is the likely issue. If problems persist, dismantle the Scalpere 2000, repeat section 1 of this cassette, or call the customer service helpline included with the packaging. So somebody will happily walk you through the assembly of this little mini guillotine. Use. Section 3, use. To use the Scalpere 2000, first place it down on a large flat surface while making sure that there is plenty of space around to use it comfortably. Oh. You want to be comfortable while you use it. If you're performing the task on another person, make sure that they are as calm and as still as possible during the operation. Oh, wait a minute. On another person. If you're operating on yourself or being operated on, you understand that this is key to your survival, and that the Scalpere 2000 is the safest method available besides a trained medical professional. So why would you use this on anybody? Let's start by inserting the limb into the compression chamber. Be sure that the affected portion is behind the blade. Ah, it's in case of a zombie attack. Okay. Quickly rotate the crankshaft several times until the mechanism successfully functions, because you don't want it to be a slow process. Alright, I think we get it. Be as sanitary as possible. Thank you. Section 4, live demonstration. uh, yeah, that part's not in there. Written in that. Okay, great. I hope you enjoyed those as much as I did, because that is a that is a difficult genre for many reasons. And like I mentioned, one of the difficulties is like not crediting yourself and like not trying to sell the idea too much. A lot of analog horror now, like they'll put in a lot of like weird VHS effects, or they'll put in like random stuff that's cut in that like doesn't really make much sense. Uh, and that's it just gives away the gag too much. And that to me is I don't know. There are even some like beloved ones that just in my views is not nowhere near on those levels. So give me more suggestions. I'd love to watch more of these because it is my favorite genre. I have to admit, like because it's just in terms of action, I just don't see the level of innovation that you see in something like that. Um, because to innovate action, you need like money, you need a production, you need to do all this. You have to do all this stuff to make that work. Um, Outrigger is asking, "Hey Eric, will you do an audio version of your book?" Yes, I will do an audio version of my book. Not only will I do an audio version, I actually want to do an entire video essay. I probably won't do the entire book in the video essay, um, but definitely like a few chapters because it's just like it's kind of like the best way to, I think, sell the idea of what I'm going for. Um, I wanted to just talk briefly about liminal for just a minute because like that is something that vaporwave is sort of playing on. Excuse me, that analog horror is playing on because I'm thinking of vaporwave as I talk about this. So vaporwave is my favorite music genre, and I have a thing for liminal liminality. Not because it feels cozy to me, but because I just think that that's like where you get some of the most interesting artistic kind of expression. Um, neither here nor there. It was kind of it's kind of like it's kind of like where I just like operating anyway, where I'm making action films, but they're like indie at the same time, and it's like these two genres never quite met, and that was something that was like I felt like just very ripe for creation, artistic creation. There's a movie I'm waiting for. It's called oh I can't remember. I'll put it in the comments. But there's a it's from 1999. It has Tak Sakaguchi. It's a Japanese movie, and it's just a VHS, or it's probably shot on like a 3-chip Sony, on like mini DV. Push luck, push luck, and I, I don't think I'll get in trouble for showing it. I'll do another thing on it, but at some point, like I'm hoping to get a copy of it, and I would love to do just like a viewing with everybody because when you look at action from 1999 to 2001, especially like so like let's look at stuff like Zero Gravities, stuff like Kid Gusto. Um, it was so kinetic and it was so fast and it was like fun and things action's like slower now. Um, the editing's quicker and the music is bigger, but the action was slower. Like movement was legitimately slower. Hong Kong action, you watch like a Hong Kong fight scene from like Dragons Forever, for example, and it's just so much faster. And nowadays, it's just action's just nothing like not like that anymore. Anyway, liminality with, liminal meaning like liminal means like a doorway, basically. It's like neither here nor there. You're just kind of in the doorway. Are you going to go in or are you going to go out? That's the same thing with liminal spaces, right? A liminal space is a liminal space because it's like not really a space, but it is. It's like literally a space, but there's nobody there, right? Like a liminal space, if you look it up on Google Images, we'll do one real quick. We'll just do a little bit of um, let's see. Let's do some Google image searching for liminal spaces. Let me pull this up. Let's see. Let's go to. Don't mind me. Where am I? Where is it? No, no, that's not it. What am I doing? Discard. So I'm trying to figure out how to window capture. Where are we? Google Images. There we go. So you kind of get the idea with liminal spaces, right? Because these are spots that are supposed to have people, and when they don't, there's just something clearly missing here. Right? Old malls that are empty now, old Chuck E. Cheese's, flooded out subways. Like if you look at like Chuck E. Cheese, for example, it's right there. That's freaky, man. Like these are places that should not be empty, or like a derelict, derelict abandoned Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, there's an entire liminal space subreddit. So just seems wrong, So that's sort of like the idea behind Vaporwave. And I'm surprised not many people know Vaporwave because it's like I don't even know where I heard of it. I know that like at some point around like 2015 or so there was retrowave, and then soon after that, and there was all this like chill wave and all these other things happening around then, and then vaporwave came about. And what people would do, and if you don't know vaporwave, go and like have a listen. Um, Vaporwave is it's like repurposed old music. It could be anything. There's Kmart wave, there's Soviet wave, Juche wave. Right? So if you take old analog media and you just sort of like re-release it, and they'll put like an audio hiss on it, or they'll slow it down, right? And they would play, and so like you would have these playlists where it's like retro wave and vaporwave, and the two are like nothing alike, because retro wave it's supposed to be this like really like truly 80s aesthetic, right? And like really, really good, like same percussion, same kind of melodic riffs and all that. And they'll always play anime video with it and whatnot. Or they'll show an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. And so the idea is like you're trying to like resurrect the kind of 80s aesthetic with retrowave. Uh, Vaporwave is nothing like that. Vaporwave is like a funeral of 80s aesthetic. If any, or it's even like it's like a funeral of like analog media itself, because there was a moment when digital media was creeping in with like CDs, the internet, obviously, and JPEGs and all that, where when you have digital art doesn't decay. It just turns into garbage. So when you have a CD, for example, when your CD goes bad, it just doesn't sound like music. As soon as your CD decays one bit, like if one little bit of it, if one tiny scratch on it, that CD is not aesthetic. That CD is broken. Whereas if you take a record and you scratch the record, the music is still there. You can still actually enjoy the music. And so that's kind of like the difference with analog media, or like a VHS, right? Your VHS gets kind of cloudy over time, or your audio tape sort of starts to slow down. There's like still an art to that. It still sort of like speaks to you. But when your DVD starts glitching, that's not art at all. There's nothing like nostalgic about your DVD player glitching out, but there is something nostalgic about an old, worn out record. There's nothing nostalgic about a broken JPEG that's just like three-quarters of it's like weird pixelated garbage, but there is something very aesthetic about a rusty pot or like a dirty statue. It's overgrown with ivy or something, right? So you think of vaporwave more in terms of like this memorial of analog art, which like you can't have soon because art is completely being digitized and there's no decay with art. It's either on or off. I wrote an article about this one time and I had a lot of images on it, but then there was a law firm, Higby and Associates, man, they will try and shut you down. They tried to get me for like $5,000 for using 4 pictures. I fended them off, but I took all the pictures down, so the article is kind of not useless anymore. But um, I do have an article about like vaporwave being sort of like a funeral uh, to art, and so that's what I think is kind of being touched on with things like found footage and analog horror, is this strange era that we're going through where maybe soon you're not really going to have any physical art being made anymore. Of course you'll always have it. You'll always be able to get paper. You'll always be able to draw things on paper. But like what like the question will be like how much art is actually going to be made in the physical realm versus the digital realm, right? And then how does that art get to you? And then what distribution channels does it go through? And if somebody shuts that, or somebody like decides to just not distribute that art anymore, can they just like turn it off? For example, films that are made on Netflix that were only on Netflix that never went to DVD or Blu-ray, uh, and then now they're not on Netflix. Do those films even exist anymore? I don't know. Um, so, and it's the same with books. Books that are released on Kindle only. If the author says like, I don't want that anymore. In fact, maybe I actually prohibit anybody from ever looking at this thing again on their Kindle. So if your Kindle goes online and it checks the DRM on the book, now it's not readable anymore. So I have this book called Mad Men's Manifestos, and Mad Men's Manifestos. Uh, do I have it here? Well, it's on my Kindle. Anyway, I was trying to find it on Amazon. You can't get it on Amazon anymore. And fortunately, you can if you bought it, you can still like read it, but you can't get it any other way anymore. Except the author might actually send you a PDF if you can find them. And so stuff like that. Like what is art going to be? Like art is just kind of like vapor, right? That's the fear, is that like the art that we get involved in. It's the same with like working in video games. Uh, like I've heard so many horror stories of people working on a game for years, and work on a game for like 5 or 6 years, and they'll go to work one day and their computer's gone with a note that says, meeting at 9:30 or whatever. And they go to the meeting and they're just like, what's going on? The game got pulled. Oh, so I worked for 5 years animating these characters, building this world, all the design docs. Where is all that? Yeah, that's all gone. Yeah, yeah. Studio got rid of all that. Wait. So the game's not coming out. Right, the game's not coming out. Oh, that sucks. Well, at least we can show the work on our demo reels. No, you can't do that either. No, no, this stuff never happened. Can I talk about? No, you can't even really talk about what you did. No. Can you imagine putting 4 to 5 years of your life into something that is not supposed to have ever happened? So you can kind of understand there's a mindset out there right now, especially, people who are contract workers who get hired because it's like, hey, I'm a game studio, and I say, hey, I saw your work. You make amazing concept art. I'd love you to come and work on the new, we're making a game about fish, and you draw great fish. So we want you to design all new kinds of fish for this game. You work for 5 years. You make the best fish that you've ever made. Now, you cannot talk about the fish that you're making, right? You can't post about it. You can't make any copies. And every fish that you draw for this game is owned by the company. Okay. and your entire like all the research that you do about fish is like being like put into this fish art that you're doing, and then one day the computer's gone, and now you don't have your fish art anymore, and you spent 5 years, and now it's like been burnt up into nothing, and you will never use it again. You'll never talk about it. Maybe you could talk about it after the studio's dead, but like you just don't want that phone call. I've had that phone call where I'm doing an interview and I mention, oh, back when I did that one game for PlayStation, and I got a phone call, and they're like, you still can't talk about that. And they said, call that podcast and have them delete that section. And they have the power of a movie studio behind them to make sure that you do that. You will not win that battle in court. Sorry. So, what does that do to you, like creatively? I don't know. It seems really scary, and I've always been very. I can understand why somebody would approach their art with caution. If at any moment your entire work for the past 5 years could just like vaporize and you just can't talk about it. Is that where we're going? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like we have to go there because like the more we kind of go in that direction, the more like the tools are available for you to just like piss off and make your own Unreal game, right? Or like, the more like Netflix kind of takes over here, it's like the more you can just kind of piss off and go and like make an AI movie or go and like make I know AI movies or whatever, but like you can just go and like make your own thing. So I think that you're always going to have some kind of like counterbalance to this. The question is like in the pop culture memory hole, what are we going to remember and be nostalgic about in 20 years? Like, what are we, because I think back to 2010, which is 15 years ago in 2 days. This is crazy. What am I nostalgic about from 2010? I don't know. Is anybody nostalgic for 2010? Because I know that in high school in 1995, we were nostalgic for 1985 already. Right? So in 10 years, we're in the mid 90s and we're like, kind of tired of the attitude generation, like WWE and Stone Cold Steve Austin, grunge and all that, and ska and punk. Okay, it was cool, but then we were nostalgic for 85. Like Crowded House and Thompson Twins. We're suddenly nostalgic for something 10 years earlier. And, you know, in the 2000s we started being nostalgic for Nirvana and for the ska genre and all that. But like, are we nostalgic for anything in 2010? Back when we started to see the end of hard media, which sort of coincides with vaporwave in that era. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be nostalgic about anything anymore. That's a scary thought, or at least not about the same stuff we used to be. Like maybe we'll just be nostalgic for people. Uh-oh. uh, let's see. A couple questions here. Jackson, do you know the horror zombie movie Red? It has the same style as the Blair Witch Project. No, Red. Never heard of that. I thought you meant Wreck. There's a great Spanish film called Rec, R-E-C, like record on a camera. But Red, I haven't heard of. FIA says to me, what a lot of these regurgitations have done is make the letting go process of old media easier. If it all went away now, most won't miss it much thanks to this phase of mishmashing the past. Letting go of old media easier. What old media exactly? I'm curious what you mean. Yeah, Rec, not Red. Yeah, Rec is awesome. That's a great movie. Anna asks, is there any way of getting the film Dogs of Chinatown? Why do you want that? Yeah, hold on. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I have the whole movie right here. Here, you want it? Copy Dropbox link. Here. I think I can do this. Uh-oh, can I not chat? What happened? Oh, my computer's slow. There. Dogs of Chinatown. In the chat, everybody. Go for it. I think that's okay. Um, so, I also want to throw just something out there real quick, and this is like a call for help in a good way. I would love to do some kind of like vaporwave material or like even print vaporwave kind of stuff, and I'm looking for help from people who like know how to kind of like make an aesthetic like that, who could do either print material or like video material. Um, that would be I think that there are some interesting things that you could do, but of course it's going to be pretty like I don't want to put, made by Eric Jacobus at the end. It's not going to be what it is. So like nobody would know it's mine. Um, and if I'm in it, you're not going to be able to know it's me. But I would love to be able to do something like that because let's see. Lead Furlong says I've watched and learned. Is that like Lead Furlong? I've watched and learned a lot from your videos. Thanks for your content, man. Sure. I love babbling. I have a lot of opinions that nobody asks for. I have a copy of Pedicab Driver, and this stays with me forever for life, says Orphan. Oh, cool. I know somebody who's got the Laserdisc of Pedicab, which is pretty wild. I got a few like hard copies of like hard Laserdisc. I got like a Golden Harvest Laserdisc of Story of Ricky that's like it's got this big old note on it. It's like, do not let this out. I found that at Bay Logan's studio. He had this pile of laser discs in the corner, and I was just like, are you what are you gonna do with these?" And he was just like, "I don't know." Yeah, it's like a thousand laser like Hong Kong laser discs. And I was just like, "Can I take some?" He's like, "I'll charge you for them." So I had to pay him for like 15 of his 1,000 laser discs. But there were like 15 copies of Story of Ricky that were sealed laser discs. I'll think maybe I'll do like an analog media stream at some point, just like show some of these freaking weird things I've got. And I found some interesting other ones like some like sealed laser discs of stuff I never thought came out on laserdisc. Nowhere like, but now Eureka's releasing like really high quality Blu-rays of the prints. It's really amazing stuff, and I think you can get a really good like licensed steel now. There's a high quality license to steel you can get. Um, So anyway, what else was I gonna say? So with the book will be released on paperback. Um, it'll also be available on Kindle, and I will do a voiceover version. I don't know if I'll do the voice. I mean, I feel like that would have the most passion, but I don't quite have a radio voice. Like I don't know how many people who could listen to this voice all day. It's a little bit. I don't have a face for TV. I don't have a voice for radio. I don't know what I have. I've got a face for mocap. uh, but so there will be an audio one. I would love to do some other languages too. If anybody is interested in doing a foreign voiceover, I have to get it translated first. I even thought about like doing a really short version of the book and printing it out on steel. How pretentious would that be? Like, because you can get do I have any? Because you can get these like steel business cards printed. I think I might have thrown them away. Yeah, I think I junked them. But you can get like steel business cards, and you can print whatever you want on them. You can do it on like you can do like 0.3 inch or 0.3 millimeter steel plates, and I could print a book. I could do like 15 pages on that. That might be and that would survive a fire. Jackson says, no, man. Jackie also said he's not handsome or good English voice or whatever. The guy's really charming. That's pretty sick. All right, well, maybe I'll do my own. Maybe I'll do my own voiceover. Maybe I'll even throw in. Like, do you have to follow the book exactly when you do like an audible? Like, are you allowed to like laugh or like add little things? Like, I can't believe I wrote this, but here it is anyway. Like, are you allowed to do that? Can I go off script? Because that would be a fun audiobook. So it's not just like, because I can't listen to audiobooks because it's just I just fall asleep. I fall like it's a not that I have an issue sleeping, but if I did, I would listen to an audiobook. Um, okay, I think I'm done. So thanks everybody. I'm trying to do more regular. I'm trying to do more of these streams. So we got 15 people in here. I think last time I had 12. Maybe we'll try and get like more people in. I think if I make it a more regular thing, maybe we can get some more people in. I'm also trying to figure out how to like show footage because man, like I mean, I did one where I was just breaking down action scenes, and the stream stopped halfway, and YouTube gave me a copyright strike, and I just don't want that to happen. So maybe I'll just like shoot like do trailer responses, and then like that stuff's allowed. I guess I should just read up on that. I'm not looking to like become a streamer or anything, but I just think that it's like a more I want to be a little bit more hands-on with everybody out there and give my hot takes about things. I'm also blogging every day now. I'm trying. Don't hold me to that. Hold me to that. Bother me if I'm not blogging. Say, where's your blog today? And I'll make one. I'm trying to blog every day at ericjacobus.com. And I'm blogging a lot about what I'm reading, but then like stuff I'm watching. Most of what I watch. Here's the thing: is like most of what I watch now is like kids movies, because I've got kids. That's all I ever. That's all I ever see. But I think that's important. I think it's important for us to understand what kids are watching nowadays. I think a whole. I would love to do a video essay just about like Pixar, Disney. Uh, I have like this really weird sort of like sub interest in seeing how animation is changing gradually over time. There's this thing that what I call antic inflation, and it's not across the board, but by and large, when you watch cartoons from the 50s and the 60s, um, when a character does an action, there's always an anticipation leading into the action. And in the Disney style, they sort of try and like roll into the action. So, for example, if I wanted to look that way, I would go like that. It's like it's just like a subtle kind of like dip, or there's an arc to it, right? You don't just want to go like point A to point B. So like in real life, I would go like that. That's a normal look, but a Disney look would be like that. There's this kind of there's an anticipation before the look. Uh, so in the 50s and 60s, it kind of looked like that. Um, and then in the 70s, with like Robin Hood, the cartoon, for example, there's just a little bit more of an anticipation. Well, now when I watch stuff like The Good Dinosaur, it's like it's so overdone. Like I know I'm exaggerating, but when you watch any movement now in a kids Disney film, it's like they really really kind of like soak up or they really like over anticipate the movement and then like come out gradually. And I don't know like if that's like written in a memo somewhere where animators have been told like you need to add another frame to the antic on everything that you do, because oh my gosh, like when I was watching Moana, everything is like super anticipated. Not always. The Good Dinosaur was one. I think I mentioned that one. And yeah, the Good Dinosaur is like a kind of like a, I guess it's like a little bit younger. My youngest loves that movie. But everything in The Good Dinosaur is very much like if somebody looks, it's like it's like really circular, right? Like really soft. It's a very soft anticipation. And my my hunch is that like there's this like inflation going on where producers are saying like, okay, we need a more gradual anticipation, even more gradual than the last one. Yeah, the last one did 17 frames. We need 18 frames now because 17 caused like 16 delivered these results. 17 delivered these results. They had higher retention. Let's do 18 so we can increase retention and like sell garbage to the kids or whatever. And so it seems as though there's like this inflation happening. And like, what is that doing to kids watching movies? So when you're constantly inundated by people going like this, are you like building the incorrect sort of like movement vocabulary for people, or gesture vocabulary? Like, is that messing my kids up? I don't know. I hope not. Someday I will talk a little bit more about my family situation, and it is not the time for that right now. Okay, so all that's to say, blogging regularly now. Book is coming out next month, hopefully sooner rather than later, before the end of the month in January. If that doesn't happen, I have it being copy edited right now. It will happen, and it should be it'll be on Amazon. If you want an autographed copy, you guys know how to find me. Happy New Year! I'll probably do this again tomorrow, but if not, see you next year.